Okay, 150K count, sitting at 154. Watching the Qline setups. We are just about to have the US cash session open. We've got main resistance up here, got 2 levels of support below. I'm going to work 3 MNQs just since I'll be filming here, and the filming is highly distracting to me from my typical daily schedule. I'll do more of these as we get time. So what am I watching for this morning? Well, if we could come down and get a levels test or sweep one of these levels and a buy, that'd be something I'd be interested in taking. And so you have to bear with me. This is going to be really interesting trying to film this on my laptop where I've got stuff running on one browser that has to be a different browser than the browser we're tracking the market. So standing by, I don't want to be a buyer right here out of the open, not with us so close to support. I would rather be a seller of the market if we come up to this area and get some sort of a signal, or if we come down and give a proper test of this support level. At a minimum, at least come down and test the overnight session low. That would be a better area to be a buyer than just jumping in and buying right out of the open when we're kind of in the middle of the road from a where is resistance and where is support standpoint. So I'm always big on the trade location. If I don't like the trade location, I just sit and I wait for a signal, near or at trade location after I get some sort of trade location test. We have uppermost resistance. I'd be willing from this little lift in the overnight session through early morning, press of that area. We have a little bit of resistance in this area from the overnight session. So I would want to see this market higher before I sell it, in other words. Otherwise, I'm sitting here seeing if we can get some sort of pullback, which would be nice if we just got a pullback early and could get a test. Now, if I get a price pattern in here, we get a pullback and we get a nice W pattern, then I would have the 2 out of 3 items met, and I'd be willing to work a long setup. So standing by till we get something that's worthwhile here. Basically, the market just opened. There is news 15 minutes after the market opens, and then main news 30 minutes after the market opens. So we are going to get some news here shortly. The trade location, there's nothing special here. If we get a Qline short, I'll go ahead and take the trade, see if we make a run. So see if we make a run to the support level. At any moment, I can blip out of the trade. So my stop would be at the top of the bands or the upper part of the pivot. That would be the maximum stop I would ever use. I need to adjust the the scale on this chart so you can better see where I'm at. But up in this area, the smart thing to do is put in a buy stop. So we have right at that upper area of this price pivot. Basically, we're sitting now right above the bands. So if price runs up and blips us up, then I'll sit on my hands and I'll wait for a new setup. We very likely could get a run into support. Kind of surprised it didn't happen sooner, like right out of the open. That's typically more the behavior of the institutionals when you're that close to support out of the open after we've had a very negative period to come down, run it, test it, do a level sweep, and then they can turn around and buy it, or the selling could possibly start to accelerate. So we're sitting here standing by. We're in our first signal short. We could get a long signal here. If we do, then I would just go flat. I don't really want to buy this market right here. There's nothing all that special about this area price. Pretty much with the fact that we have news in only 10 minutes and then bigger news in 25 minutes, there's going to be some indifference here in the market before that news plays out. Now, if I wanted to reverse, I'm in a 3 position short. I would need to go 6, and I have a buy signal. So let's go ahead and buy it. That's basically like doing a reversal. And then I want to sell a sell stop for 3. So let's get rid of that. I want to do a sell stop for 3 contracts. And we want that down just right about where the bottom of the bands are. So we'll give this a shot. We'll see if it gets any legs and runs. You know, we did hold this area. We did come down, retest. We're lifting. We'll see if IBs or institutionals juice this thing a little bit leading up to the first news release. Maybe make a run up to this area. So main thing here, once I get the market, I have 1 unit to risk. When I get about 1 unit to reward, the thing to do would be move stop to break even plus and just see what happens. It's very simple. It's Qline. You get bear signals. If you like it, you work it. If you get bull signals and you like it, you work it, especially if you have two out of 3 in place. Now with news coming up, I get a little bit of a run up here. I could just blip out of the trade. I'd be up on the day and I can wait and then work anything that comes out of the news reaction. This is actually a bad scale I'm in on this chart. I should probably have this chart like on a 1-minute chart or on a range bar chart so you can see it a little bit more granular. So right here, we'll put a sell for 3. See if we get a push into that high pivot. We get up in this area, I'll move my stop up. I already have a target in place that's well beyond. I'm not really going to lock in any profits as of yet. I would like to see this much higher. If news was in about a minute or 2, I would just blip this out, take it, and then sit on my hands and wait, see what we get out of the news reaction. So there we go, standing by, we'll see what we get. Okay, we're getting pretty close to news. So this is another thing you can do. If I get a push of this little pivot that took place, I can partial out, leave a runner on. That way I've at least locked in some profits. I'm positive on the day going into waiting for a better setup after we get through news releases. So I can sell out at 2. So I need to change everything here. We're going to put a buy stop now. I'm sorry, we need a 1 contract. We've taken 2 off. So we're long right now. We're going to put in a sell stop for 1. We're going to lock in a little bit of profit. We're going to put a sell limit there. And we're in a free trade and we're positive on the day waiting for news. You can make trading as hard or as simple as you want. So at this point, taking 2 trades out of the scrubby price action out of the open, where you know how the markets are. When there's a news release coming out, like the 8:45 Central Time or the 9 o'clock news releases, it's not uncommon for the market to not have a whole bunch of direction. Other than I would have not been surprised to see a run right into support right out of the open, test it, get that played out, and then they can come in and pump out of the, not necessarily the 8:45 Central Time news, but the 9 o'clock one. Okay, just 4 minutes from news. So I'm in the protected trade. I don't need to flatten my trade. I've already thinned down and taken some profits. And we'll stand by and see if we, what plays out here at the 8:45 news. It's the 9 o'clock news in about 18 minutes and change that'll be more, probably have more of effect on the market than what's playing out right now with the 8:45 news release. Another thing I do, I typically always eat breakfast somewhere between 8-ish US Central Time and 9-ish. So a lot of times I'm actually eating my breakfast right during the opening. That's what I've always done. That's what I'm used to. And so anyhow, I just had my breakfast served here. So I'll pause on occasion when I'm eating, but Typically on a day like this, I would not be in any trades. I'd be sitting on my hands, waiting for something interesting, waiting for the market to get at some level. So basically, we're not really positive on the day. I think we might be down very small amount. So what you do when you work trades like this, a new system, you trade it with smaller position size, get used to it. Okay, we're down 47.50. So take a couple of trades out of the open. No harm, no foul, waiting for news to play out. First news release in 2 minutes, and then the big one at 9, or the one that's more prominent. And one of those news releases will get us running into the upper range of price or get us to come down and test support. And that's where we're going to get the most reactiveness out of price. So standing by, and we'll see what we get.